reaching out once a week, making dates. So they've gotten together and hooked up several times now. However, she's never once reached out. I guess it doesn't say what the time frame is, but if he's only seen her once a week, it sounds like they've gotten together 3 or 4 times. So over the course of a month, she's never once initiated contact. And usually a woman that does that is structured, following a set of rules, refuses to make the effort, because there are women out there on the internet that are telling. Plus, there's the book, The Rules, which has been around for a lot of years, that tells women to do things like this. So typically, under normal circumstances, that's a red flag. And so he already tried. Because he was calling once a week, and he thought, man, she hasn't reached out once. She always seems to be happy to hear from him and enthusiastic, but she's literally not lifting a finger. And so he tried going 2 weeks to see if she would reach out. Nothing. And now he's thinking about just not reaching out at all to see what happens. So let's go through his email. He says, "Hi, Corey. You've replied to a couple of my emails before, and I really appreciate it. Your work has helped me understand women much better and how to navigate relationships. After the second breakup with my ex, I met a girl randomly by the river. I commented on one of her tattoos. We spoke for a bit, and I asked for her number. We went for a drink at a park about a week later, and a couple of hours in, we were already making out passionately. No sex that night, but we ended on a good note. She mentioned she'd be working in a hut in the mountains for a couple of months, coming back to town every few weeks. She was just leaving a few days after our first date. I waited 3 days and texted if she had time before leaving. It would be nice to hang out. She said she was busy, but came over at midnight that same night. That's when the indoor Olympics started." So something I want to say before I get a little further, and you'll see kind of why, is it's important, especially a woman like this, that you're just easygoing, easy to get along with, no pressure. Under normal circumstances, you'd be letting a woman like this start to reach out more, but this girl's making zero effort to reach out. Plus, there's another guy, I guess she was dating for about a year. She was trying to lock him down. And then finally, they got serious, committed. And then after 2 weeks, he bailed. He didn't want to be exclusive. She says they're still in contact. They're still friends. Or she's still friends with him. So she's the one that got dumped because he bailed. She's been chasing and trying to lock him down. She spent a whole year with him. So what this guy's got to understand, just had a breakup literally 2 weeks before they met. Rejection breeds obsession. So we know more than likely she's really probably holding out hope that this ex-boyfriend comes back and wants to date her. And so she's making no effort with this guy, but it seems like he's kind of in the rebound position. And so under normal circumstances, you got to let these women come to you at their pace, especially with the ex in the background. But he's just doing 1 date per week. She's not lifting a finger. And so in that case, just because of her lack of effort, I would just move her over into the weekly booty call category. And because it's like no strings attached sex. This is, it's helping her move on from this guy because she's got a dude that's interested. He gets in touch once a week or so. They get together, they hang out, they have fun, they hook up. No strings attached. She's already asked him, which you'll see here in a second, like what his intentions are, what he's thinking. And she really liked his answer. So he's no stress, no drama, just easygoing, easy to get along with, not pressuring her, because it sure looks like she's probably waiting and hoping for this other guy to come back because she was thirsting after a relationship with him for a year. He finally gave in, and then he only lasted 2 weeks before he dipped. So more than likely, when that guy doesn't find anybody else that he likes better, and within 90 days, he's going to probably be trying to come back. So, and if he starts to pursue her, she might start initiating in the future, or she's just following a set of rules. But, well, anyways, let's continue with the email, get a little further in it here. So this is, that they started the indoor Olympics was when she came over that night. Remember, he tried to set up a date. She said she was too busy, but she ends up coming over that night. And they hooked up. And this is after just one date. So you got to understand she's in a rebound position, so she's going to be hot and cold. And in this case, she's just not making any effort. Because normally, after you sleep with a woman, because most women sleep with a guy by the second or third date, usually if you've been out on 3 or 4 dates, the woman at least starts to reach out every few days. And this woman's not doing that. Maybe it's premature. Maybe he's doing things when he's with her that's turning her off and he doesn't realize it. This is, another reason why you need to read the book 10 to 15 times, because she should be reaching out by now under normal circumstances. They do, but she's either structured or maybe he's making some subtle mistakes that is kind of keeping her interest low. But she sure seems to be excited when he does reach out and flexible and willing to get together, as you'll see in a second. After that, I followed your once a week rule, and we saw each other a few more times in the following weeks. Even though she was usually only back in town for 2 to 3 days and very busy, she always made time to come over. So if she's making time to come over, she likes hooking up, she likes the sex, she likes the no strings attached, no drama. And hopefully he keeps his mouth shut and maintains operational security. He's not blabbing to his friends and his coworkers or telling mutual friends that they're hooking up. So that creates the conditions where it's just very easy for her. She got a nice steady rebound, dude, and the potential is open for the ex to come back and finally want her, which may or may not happen. Usually most guys will dump a girl like this and think, I'm going to find somebody way better in 90 days, and then what happens is their vibe changes because now they're single and they're not getting anything regularly. And when they don't meet somebody within 90 days, then they're going to try to go back to the ex because then they get really fearful. He says chemistry has been strong each time. And over text, she's warm and enthusiastic, though we mostly only text for logistics. Well, the phone is for setting dates, so that keeps it simple. On our last date, she asked me, "What is this for you?" And I replied, "I'm having a good time with you. I'm not overthinking it. If it goes well, great. If it doesn't, then it doesn't." She said it was a good answer, and that's exactly what she needs right now. So she just basically said, I need an easy booty call, easy rebound, no strings attached, no pressure, not blowing my phone up. And the sex is obviously good because, she's willing just to come over late at night, even though she doesn't have a lot of time to go out on dates. It's just no strings attached, rebound sex. She also asked about my past relationship and whether I was seeing anyone else, and I said, I'm keeping my options open. She told me that she had broken up with her ex only 2 weeks before we met. They dated for about a year. She was trying to lock him down, but he didn't want to commit. So, clearly she's definitely obsessed over this guy. Rejection breeds obsession. She finally got what she wanted, exclusivity. That lasted 2 weeks, then he dumped her. And obviously she's pining for him to come back. If I'm in Las Vegas and betting that that's what's going on, she's probably really hoping that the ex-boyfriend changes his mind and misses her and comes back. Hence the reason why she's probably not making any effort to reach out at all. She's trying to keep him at arm's length and keep it as a booty call. That's why it's best to just date once a week or whenever she's back in town. When they finally decided to go exclusive, it only lasted 2 weeks before he bailed, saying it felt like too much pressure. Yeah, they dated a whole year, and it's like, I can't handle it. 2 whole weeks. So probably more than likely, she was a booty call to him, and that was it. She told me they're still in touch, and she wants to stay friends with him. That is the first red flag. The second red flag, she never initiates contact between dates. After our last date, to which she stayed for breakfast and had a lot of the indoor Olympics, instead of waiting a week, I waited two to see if she'd reach out first. She didn't. When I eventually texted, she replied quickly and warmly. So it's pretty obvious she's purposely not making any effort. So that looks structured. Maybe she's following the book, the rules. But the important thing is when he reaches out, she's excited to hear from him. She quickly responds. So that's a good sign. He says, but she hasn't messaged me on her own, even though she was back in town. Here's my question. Since she never initiates, should I stop contacting her altogether and see if she ever does? I mean, at this point, it's, again, your job is to create the opportunity for sex to happen. If she's excited to hear from you, you could continue to mix it up. I mean, remember what she said. She just needs an easy, no strings attached booty call. So maybe you mix it up instead of just automatically like a robot calling her or texting her every week to set a date. Maybe sometimes you do once a week. Sometimes it's every week and a half. Sometimes it's 2 weeks, just to see what happens. He says, I don't want to come across as a... And plus, you told her you were dating other people anyways. And you should, because the likelihood of this guy coming back is really high because she's the one that got dumped. We know rejection breeds obsession. And it looks pretty clear that she's still holding a space for the other guy and really doesn't want to stress, just wants easy access to good sex. Pretty simple. I don't want to come across as a cold fish, but at the same time, every time I reach out, she's been warm, enthusiastic, and keen to meet up. I'm torn between letting it go or continuing as long as she responds positively. Your input would be greatly appreciated. The only thing that I would do is, like, you could just kind of change it up, mix it up so you're unpredictable. Like, because if you do every week, she knows you're going to contact her every week. So if 1 week it's a week, the next time it's 2 weeks, the next time after that, maybe it's a week and a half. Maybe it's 2 and 2. You see her twice a month. I would just look at her as a rotation girl that's pretty easygoing, easy to get along with, that when she's in town, she's just happy to come over late at night for a booty call. Because you'll also notice it doesn't seem like she wants to go out on dates and potentially be seen in public, because maybe she's worried that when she's out in public, either her ex or somebody that knows her and her ex is going to see her with another guy. And she's worried about that because she doesn't want to be seen with another guy because she wants him to think that she's still available to him. That might also be why. So you got an easy booty call. It's a phone call away. You don't really have to spend a lot of time and money on her. It's easy sex. But for a relationship, just, it doesn't really sound like she's looking for it. Plus, she's not making any effort. So until she starts making an effort and reaching out to you, I would just treat her as a rotation girl. And like I said, see her maybe every 1 to 2 weeks at a time and just mix it up so she doesn't know when you're going to call. Sometimes she doesn't hear from you for 2 weeks. Sometimes it's a week and a half. Sometimes it's only a week. And it just depends on when she's available. And, it's kind of a special case. So it'd be great. Maybe in a few months you kind of give us an update on what happens or what changes, if anything. The thing to look for is, keep in mind, it's, because when guys are in a relationship, we all notice this, that other women seem to be really interested in us. And then when you're single, it's like, where are they? And so the guy who dips is thinking, man, I got all these girls that are interested in me. Let me just go spend time with them. And then yet, as the weeks go by and the months go by, they don't find anybody that they like as much or more than the previous girl that they dumped. And then they get a little scared after 90 days thinking, oh my God, what if the next one's not as good? What if it's a year before I meet somebody? And they'll typically try to start coming back after 90 days, things that we've, confirmed with the girls in the podcast, because they got the same thing. They have a breakup. Guy doesn't seem to give a shit. He's happy to go their separate ways. Then 90 days later, dude gets scared and comes running back with his fucking tail between his legs. So just keep that in mind. When she broke up with a guy, in the back of your mind, it'll be interesting to see what happens after 90 days. Because if he does come back and say they start dating, when you do reach out, you might find that she's unavailable and doesn't want to meet you. And if that happens, then you'd have to assume she's probably hooking up with the other guy. And then at that point, I would just say, hey, well, hit me up when your schedule frees up. And then I wouldn't call her or text her again for any reason and just let it go and assume she gets back together with the other guy. Because there's a good chance that she'll go back to him, because it certainly looks like she's keeping a space in her life in hopes that the dude comes back. We should assume that's probably what's happening. And again, keep it simple. Just keep it as a rotation girl. Just one of the girls that you're talking to, and you rotate them in your practice squad. And, because if you're going to want to date somebody and have a girlfriend, ideally you don't want this kind of shit going on. You don't want her in contact with her ex. And you want a woman that makes the effort. She's not structured and following a set of rules, but It makes it easy, no strings attached sex, and keep it as a rotation girl and wear your raincoat. So if you got a question or a challenge and you'd like to get my help, go to understandingrelationships.com, click the coaching tab at the top of your screen on any page of my website, and book a coaching session with yours truly. If you haven't already signed up for our premium exclusive members only content, in the video description of this video, there are links to join on YouTube, or you can join on Spotify or our website, understandingrelationships.com. Just click the plans tab. When you get there, sign up for a 7-day free trial, and if you choose an annual plan, you can get a 25% discount at the end of the 7-day free trial. Understandingrelationships.com, click the plans tab when you get there, or the link in the video description of this video. And remember, today is Thursday, so from 2 p.m. Eastern to 4 p.m. Eastern, I'm doing a live stream with Chunky and the girls, and we will answer whatever your viewer questions are. If you go to YouTube and at Coach Corey Wayne, click the live tab, and then just click on the live stream for today's live stream. You got any questions, bring them. Super chats are appreciated, so we'll see you in a live stream or in the members only area or in the next video. And until next time, I will talk to you soon.